defense of Amy March and her relationship with Lori. Louisa May Alcott purposefully places Jo and Lori as passing ships. They were never ever going to be on the same trend line. Ever. Here's how I know this. Because in Little Women, Louisa May Alcott is really specific to use hair as a signal of transition from girlhood to womanhood. In the beginning of the story, the girls, Meg, Jo, Beth, Amy, they're seen with their hair long and down, but as they transition into womanhood, their hair starts to be put up into bundles, into buns, under hats, okay? When Jo cuts off her hair as a sacrifice to her father, this gives her a little bit more time to transition into womanhood. Why? Because when you are a woman, you put up your hair. And if your hair is short, it cannot be put up in the mindset and in the logic of Little Women. She wants to stay a girl. She wants childhood to last forever, and it can't. But by cutting her hair, she gives herself more time. Here's the issue though. Lori, before Jo cuts her hair, he is wanting to start a relationship with Jo that she does not want. Lori gets a buzz cut in Little Women, and Jo hates it. She says it looks like a scrubbing brush. She thinks that it's horrible. She thinks it looks ugly, and she tells him straight up. But here's the thing, all the eligible bachelors were doing it. Jo hates it because she does not want Lori to be an eligible bachelor, not because she wants him, but because she wants to live her childhood forever with him. She doesn't want him to grow up and be eligible. She wants him to stay a boy. Lori, however, reads this differently. He thinks that Jo is expressing this idea of, I don't like your hair, but I like you. When Jo leaves the March house to go to New York to tutor, to try to get published, she writes letters back and forth, and a letter is given to Jo that specifies the fact that Lori has let his hair grow for her. And Jo says, great. Fantastic. He is no longer eligible. This is going to be, we're going back to the way things were. Lori's not interested in me anymore. So she returns home, and it's when she returns home that we have this iconic scene. Gerwig's adaptation has it on the hill with the autumn colors, okay? It's no use, Jo. It's that scene, okay? But before we get that big monologue from Lori, we have this part where Jo and Lori are laying in the grass, and she's stroking her hands through his wavy hair that he has let grow for her. He is ready to become hers, but Jo is not yet ready. Other examples of this include when Jo cuts her hair as a sacrifice for her father. They call it stubbly, porcupine stubble, and Lori really wants her to let it grow. He says, like, your hair, girl, looks ugly. Like, you need to let your hair grow. But the difference between Jo and Lori telling each other to let their hair grow is because Lori wants Jo to grow up and be a woman that he can be in love with and marry, because remember, we're only women when our hair is long enough to be bundled up in the logic of Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. The lengths of Jo and Lori's hair we're always passing ships. Someone's got long hair when someone has short hair, and vice versa. We were never meant to be together. Here's the thing though, come closer, Who has hair that's long enough? Who has never cut their hair? Who's been waiting this whole time for Lori? Amy has. How do Amy and Lori work together? That's part 2 situation.